Oh, let me open up the camera. Sorry about
All
that.
right. Yeah, all right. And I'll run behind, but I'm glad I was able to get you this week. So you doing
Oh,
fine,
okay.
you said?
Yeah, doing all right, doing good. This is I've never heard of this system. This is kind of pretty neat.
Yeah, it is cool. StreamYard. I know this COVID-19 is just a place for a lot of opportunity. It's silver lining to all this mess. So I discovered
Hmm.
this because I'm normally used to doing things on the phone and whatnot. And I said, man, this is pretty cool because the Wi-Fi holds up and stuff like that, and it's just another
Hmm.
alternative out there along with Skype and Zoom. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to just get hip to the program.
that's right. Yeah, move it up to another level for your viewers.
Yeah, so hey, okay, we all be is under the heaven on the one and only the righteous queen, SiStar, attorney at law, Angela Green. She's gonna be breaking down what she do and do so well. And like I said, it's an honor to have you on the show. First time uh guest, but long time listener from my understanding.
Oh yeah. Yep, I am a subscriber.
That's excellent. So tell the people about what you do, what you about, in your own words, of course.
Okay. Well, I'm an attorney by trade, so I've been practicing primarily real estate, business, and entertainment law for probably going on 20 years.
That's excellent.
And so my law practice, we actually specialize in real estate. So we're a boutique real estate firm and title insurance agency. So we work with buyers, sellers of residential and commercial real estate. We also represent lenders and brokers, provide escrow services, title, curative work, property redemptions, and foreclosures and things of that nature. So that's kind of what I do as far as my day job. And
Mhm.
um, for many years, I did practice entertainment law, but a few years back, I stopped actively. I mean, I do some, but primarily I kind of channeled my entertainment law experience into my nonprofit work. And so currently, I operate as executive director of On Location Memphis. It's an entertainment nonprofit 501c3. For 17 years, we hosted one of the international film and music festivals here in Memphis. But last year, we've been making a shift, and we launched our first initiative under our new mission, which is to teach entertainment business through real life application. Is the Memphis Music Bank, which is a BANQ, which is a online platform, licensing platform for music, for television, film, and visual media. And so we've been working with that and adding on other opportunities like that, where people can learn the business by actually doing business. And so we service the music industry, independent artists. Now we're working on programs for the film, independent filmmakers, and playwrights. So that's kind of what we do, what I do in a nutshell.
That's how you're very active, very productive, and not just busy. A lot of folks busy not getting anything done. It's like you're very productive and getting things done.
Right. That's right. We want to get things done. We want to have something tangible for what we're doing.
So why did you shift from being more like an entertainment lawyer to being like I guess a facilitator for the arts, advocate for artists? How you begin that shift?
Well, Memphis, unfortunately, it's not known for it's known for music and education and being having a city full of talented individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Not known for having the infrastructure to do business. So, as an entertainment attorney, I could not practice entertainment law 100% and make a living in Memphis. It's just very difficult. And most of the attorneys here who do practice entertainment law, they do have another area law that they practice that brings in the bread and butter, so to speak. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those things that I learned. When I moved here, I wasn't aware of the situation because Memphis is known worldwide as a music town, and it is. It has a lot of talented individuals here. It has a rich history in the music and the arts. So there's no doubting that. But it's been difficult that I've learned since I've been here for the new generation of independent artists to scratch out a living here, and that includes all the other individuals who would make money or would make a living off of them being able to further their careers here, such as your managers, your lawyers, and everyone else. talent agents and everyone else who kind of support that industry.
So why not cut your losses
Yeah.
early? Oh,
Yeah.
New York. So why
Yeah.
not
So
cut your
that's
losses?
what,
Yeah, like why not move
yeah.
to Nashville, Atlanta, or somewhere like that instead of
I
being here
could
for some
have.
years?
I mean, I could have, but I mean, I'd already pretty much established myself here. So I just really, I just really wasn't interested in just kind of uprooting myself. And then I felt like, well, they needed me here. I mean, the independent artists here, they needed someone here who can, or some more people, because there's a lot of people who do that. And there's a lot of nonprofits here who teach the business and the business of the industry on the music side. But I just felt like, and just looking at it, okay, the piece that's missing is the doing the business. I can learn about the business, but I need to do the business in order to make money. And that's what I felt was missing, is the opportunity to learn by actually doing business.
So my thing is interesting. I'm thinking about what you're saying all this, and I remember like if you go back 50 or 60 years ago, Memphis had Stax, they had Sun, they
Hmm.
had American. Why is it they went from that to what it is now? What do you think happened between now and back then? What caused that change?
It's hard to put your finger on it, but I do wonder if Martin Luther King being assassinated here, and the racial and social uprising that fell out of that situation. I wonder if that had a lot to do with it, because it was very interesting when they did a documentary called "The Women of Stax" here, and we
Okay.
screened it at our festival. And so a lot of people, I think a lot of people, because I definitely didn't know. If you're familiar with that song, "What a Man, What a Man, What a Man," with my
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's actually sung by a white woman. And
Oh, really? Okay.
right,
Okay.
okay, I guess you
Learn
know,
something new every day.
there's something every day. Yes, a Caucasian woman who sang that, and so in the documentary, they talked to her, and she was, one, of course, Stax was integrated, um, and so those artists, that they were colorblind there, that everybody worked together, and she was one of the artists, and I think it was right around Martin Luther King's assassination is when that song either came out, like right before or right afterwards or whatever, but it was around
Mm-hmm.
that time. And she talked about how because of everything that was going on, she ended up just quitting. She just ended up quitting. She just did not pursue her career further because of all of the racial unrest that was going on during that time. But the song became a hit. I mean, everybody knows, they're familiar with that song, but they're not really that familiar with the artist who created that song. And then of course, everything that went on with Stax, as far as losing the funding and and disbanding or whatever. Um, you just have not seen independent artists rise to that level in Memphis. Stationed in Memphis since then, and so you just never know what kind of impact different things have on different industries. But I just kind of wonder about that, because that all kind of culminated together. Some.
You know what? Yeah. Well, it's interesting. So, did they have like a black woman in front of her, like Milli Vanilli, on the when they put it out there, or they actually kept her as the actual artist, as the
I
face?
don't recall. I don't think so. That's something we have to research, because this was a while ago that we screened that documentary and they talked about that. So that's something that people should look into it. But I don't think they did it like that. I mean, I think they put her out there, whoever she was.
I mean, I know I was interested to find out a couple years ago that the people who sung the hook on "Let's Stay Together" for Al Green were white women.
Oh,
They
really?
actually sung the hook. Yeah, I saw them when they dedicated the High Rackets marker
Okay.
back in 2012.
Hmm.
So they actually sung a
Hmm.
little bit. I said, "Oh my God, really?" So
Yeah,
it's
the arts has
fascinating.
always been in the forefront of racial integration.
But you know what the thing about it is, you had a situation 60 years ago where you had Memphis was right up there with Atlanta and Dallas. Now you
Hmm.
in Dallas, you had a president that was actually assassinated before the
Hmm.
public. And it's like Dallas and Texas in general has rebounded pretty well from that. They're thriving
Hmm.
down in Texas right now. It's like it's a new
Hmm.
California. Everybody's moving to Texas. It's very
Hmm.
affordable. But I'm saying so to me, it's kind of weird that Memphis was up there with Atlanta and Dallas and even Nashville 50, 60 years ago. Now they just behind. I just
That's
people wondering
what,
if they're
yeah,
behind.
I guess that's the narrative that's out there.
Hmm.
I feel like it's I feel like it's definitely moving in the right direction, at least now. And I think a lot of times people don't really know. They just kind of they hear the narrative and they just believe the narrative. But in all actuality, there's a lot more that's to offer and that is going on in the city if you just do the research and really delve into it. I mean, there's a lot of awesome things that are going on. I just recently was a part of Leadership Memphis, which really
Hmm.
my eyes a lot to all of the opportunities and a lot of things that are going on in the city, both from all areas, whether it's from the arts, whether it's from tourism, whether it's from business, education, and things of that nature. And of course,
Hmm.
we have room to grow or need to grow, but you just can't really focus on the narrative. You just have to kind of decide what you want to do. So I could say, oh, the entertainment industry, there's no infrastructure here to do business, so I'm just going to focus on real estate because it does pay me very well. But I feel like, hey, if I know this is a music city, and I know there are a lot of talented artists here who um, who want to make it, and they want to make it from their city. They don't want to have to leave Memphis in order to do it. So why not add something to the city and add something to the community and say, okay, if that's what's missing, then let's go ahead and try to build something. Um, Try to fill that need.
Do you think there's really a infrastructure? I mean, you're talking about the lack of infrastructure, but I look at
Lack of
Atlanta. You were saying
infrastructure.
like I look at Ti and Killer Mike and Outkast. Them guys, they're able to
Mhm.
live in their town and still
Exactly.
have a thriving, careers and give back. So that
Exactly.
option is not
That's
available here in
what's
Memphis
not
right
here.
now.
That's what's not here right now in Memphis, and that's what we're building on that right now as we speak.
But the irony of that too is that a lot of them Atlanta rappers love Memphis rap culture, hip hop culture. They, Crunk and all that came out of Memphis. Little John, T.I., all the Ludacris, they acknowledged that. They acknowledged A.L.L and MJG before Outkast. Them guys love Memphis because, like you said, Memphis is a powerful brand worldwide.
Mhm.
How come that's not really understood or overstood here in Memphis? How to utilize, how to leverage that? What do you think the problem is?
Well, what they say, what a leader is never respected in their
Yeah,
hometown.
profit is out on. Yeah, that's how it is.
A
Okay.
prophet. So I mean, if and a lot of people gravitate to Atlanta. So there are a lot of Memphians in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So if they can leave Memphis, take the talent that they have created and built up here and learned in Memphis, and then go to Atlanta and succeed, then of course they're going to give praise back to Memphis because that's where they grew up, and there I think even now it's known as a hotbed for talent. And of course if you look at all the organizations, nonprofit organizations that are here in Memphis that teach the music industry, that teach artists how to be, artists, that teach them how to write music, that teach them how to produce music, and all of the avenues in which they're given to record music. It's plenty of time. You have the tools to practice, to hone your skills here in Memphis. Um, my thing is now that we have the skills, we have the talent, we're creating the content. Let's now create something where people can monetize that content without leaving the city. So that there's no question about that.
So is there? I know there was a Memphis Music Commission at one point. Does that entity still exist? Is there any type of commission, a cultural commission in the city government or the county to help facilitate
No,
these things?
no. On the music side, no, because they dissolved the Memphis Music Commission. Of course, we have the Tennessee was the film. We have the Tennessee Film and Tennessee Film Commission, or Shelby County, Tennessee Shelby County Film Commission. Memphis, no, excuse me, Memphis and Shelby County Film Commission. So we still have that. Um, and then so that's on the government side. But as far as nonprofits, I mean, you have the Memphis Slim House, and of course you got Stax Music Academy. You have Memphis Music Initiative, Choose 901. Let me see. I know those. Memphis Music Town.
Hmm.
So you have, that's five right there. There may be some others. So, we still have on the nonprofit side, you have several music based organizations that are there specifically to work with youth, because I think Memphis Music Initiative, they focus on the youth as well as adults and young adults who are in the music industry and teaching them about the craft. So you got it there to kind of help you.
It's like you got those things, you got the skills, you got the resources, but it's a lack of vision. Is there any way to be intersectional with all these organizations? Do these organizations work with each other, or share resources? I mean, is there a vision? Anybody got a grand vision for the future of Memphis music? Is there anybody or any organization that you feel have that vision?
Well, I mean, I think everyone they're taking a portion of the vision and working it, and they are working together, because I know I get a lot of support from the Memphis Music Bank, because
Hmm.
one, and we specifically built it as such for it to be a resource for all of the other organizations out there. So if we are focusing on music licensing and basically generating licensing deals for the content that's in our bank, then all of the other organizations that are working with the individual artists and the individual students, if they know of someone, they have somewhere where they can, they feel like, oh, this person, they're coming through our program, but this person looks like they're interested in a real career in the industry, or they have the talent to possibly have a career. We're one organization that they can refer them to as a next step. Why don't you think about music licensing as a way of generating income and starting, working your publishing company and making sure your publishing company is all together and set up. So that's just so essentially we work with all the organizations that way, and we've talked to all of them, and we make it known that we're here and we're a resource for the participants in their programs. So it's going to, just take time for everybody to kind of pull together and help us kind of build. But I'm not familiar of like an overarching vision. I know Visible Music College, they had an initiative that they were pushing last year, where they were getting behind a Memphis artist, and they pulled people from all across, the city, working in different areas to kind of work together to push that one artist. I had not heard, specifically where that project is currently, but I think, everyone who, if you take a piece of the pie and you work it to your best ability, that's pretty much everything that you can do at this point.
I think one strong asset that the Memphis music scene, excuse me, had back in the day that they don't really have now. They had strong music education programs in the schools. When you had strong music programs, people took pride in the music education programs of the different schools and whatnot. And that's
Oh,
missing. It was like a feeder for the
oh, okay.
local, studios and whatnot. You have those type of musicians with that type of training in the schools. You lack that now for whatever
Oh,
reason.
okay. Okay, gotcha. Sort of like with your Jimmy Lunsford
Yeah,
program, you were telling about how
definitely like that because he was the
in the
first high
20s
school
to
band
30s.
director. Yeah,
Right, right.
and a lot of people that was in his class that he taught ended up becoming band directors of the early schools, programs and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And also
Mm-hmm.
you had HBCUs that fed a lot of these schools these phenomenal music educators as well. And the
Mm-hmm.
HBCUs have been under attack over the last several years, funding and other things. But
Right, right, right.
is there any program in the nation that's similar to what you're doing here in Memphis with own location? Are there any programs in the nation that you look at for inspiration or that you got, that's similar?
As far as the Memphis Music Bank, the concept of it is not new, because there are many online music licensing houses. The difference
Hmm.
is they're all for profit. We're
Okay.
nonprofit. So in structuring ourselves the way we have as a nonprofit and as an educational tool, so that these artists can kind of, and creating an open door to the music licensing world for them, in a controlled and kind of safe environment. That's actually new. I have not seen it. I won't say it's not out there. I just have not seen it. So we basically we just kind of took my background in music and music law and just kind of created it based on what we thought the artists here needed, as well as what we thought the filmmaker needed, because it's really a program to service both of them. I mean,
Hmm.
the music artists are making the money, but filmmakers, independent filmmakers, they need to understand music. They need to understand the business of music and specifically licensing, because they have to have that for them to create their projects, and their product. And many times, not having it right can actually derail their project or put their project on hold, or
Hmm.
if they have music in their project that they have not cleared the licensing, then it basically stunts their project as far as how far it can go, how much money it could actually make, what they actually can do with it, because once you get on a certain level, they're not going to license a lawsuit. And if you don't have all your paperwork together in regards to your project, they were so much content out there. They rather just go to something else and this all together, as opposed to trying to fight something or potentially have something that could end up being a headache, later on. So it's a program for both, because they're able to get that quality content that's legally sound, reasonably priced into their projects, so that once their projects are done, they can move forward, and not have to worry about that in the future. So the program is really for both.
That's excellent. So I mean, what does Nashville have that Memphis don't? We got a lot of talent, but what is it about Nashville that's like it's working good for the artist, or it's a perception that is really good for artists?
Well, I mean, it is very good for artists. I mean, they have a lot of that infrastructure that we're talking about. Has For whatever reason they gravitated, especially on the music industry side. Maybe it was the country music industry or whatever, but the business of music really took to Nashville, and they set up shop. They brought in offices, set up offices and businesses, and started doing their operations from there. Then you have quite a few celebrities that live, in and around Nashville, and the surrounding areas. So they were, willing to move there and live there. But I mean, so I'm thinking it's more just the business was willing to relocate or to set up satellite offices in Nashville. And once you have the business going on there, then you're attracting everything else. I mean, we have our local celebrities who are still here in Memphis, and we love them. You also need to have, you need to have a ASCAP BMI wanting to set up an office in Memphis, or some of the major record labels or studios, for that matter, as far as film and everything, wanting to come to Memphis and set up shop and do business here. And then also for us, on the film side, creating those attractive incentives to get those projects to come. That's what kind of attracted them to Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana. Mississippi. They have attractive incentives that the state had put in place to attract those film projects and that type of business. And then also building up the in Memphis. I know in Nashville they have the workforce there too to handle it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we need to do here in Memphis is build up the workforce who can go on those sets and do the work, so that people won't feel like they have to bust in staff, to get the work done. So, and I think we're making some strides in that area as well, because I think a lot of Memphians worked on Bluff City Law when they were filming
Oh
here.
yeah, yeah.
I know a lot of Memphians worked on that project, and so we're just making strides, so this more consistent. The more we can get, the more people can get their hours, and the more work they can do. So we have to be able to track more of those types of projects on that level.
Do they are there any active like musician or creative artist unions in Memphis that you work with, or they
Not
have
that
any type of leverage?
I'm not none that I'm working with. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I won't say there aren't any, but none that off the top of my head that I can recall.
Well, that's a problem to me. They got to have some type of presence. 'Cause I know I talk to musicians that work on Bill Street how they get mistreated, but I think they
Mm-hmm.
allow themselves to get mistreated like that. It's not necessarily that they mistreating you. You accept that type of treatment. So
Right,
I
right, right.
asked a lot of them, where are y'all musician unions that we don't really have one? There's one, but it's not really vocal or as
Oh,
powerful as it once was, or whatever for whatever reason.
right,
And
right, right.
yeah, I just think it's just strange. Memphis is like a very people always say it's like one of the poorest cities in the country, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not really poor. It's just they just play keep away with the wealth for the majority of the population.
Same place.
So you
Right.
got the headquarters of FedEx, AutoZone.
Yeah.
You got International Paper. You got St. Jude. You got all these big corporations. This is the distribution hub of the country. Everything runs through Memphis.
Right.
Train, automobile, boat. The world's second largest cargo airport is in Memphis.
That's
Used to be
right.
the number one. And number one
That's
right
right.
now is Hong Kong. You used to be able to fly from Memphis directly to Europe about 20 something years ago.
Oh,
And I
really?
think the politics, yeah,
Okay.
Northwest, you can fly from Memphis to Amsterdam, be there about 18 hours or 16 hours, something like that.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I mean, I just think the lack of vision is what's killing Memphis, or that you got the cronies that wanted to be the way it wanted to be because this is a real estate hub too. I mean, people like to buy land and build things all the
That's
time, build things to nowhere, like the pyramid scheme.
real things to nowhere.
Yeah, like people like to be taken advantage of in Memphis for whatever reason. It's just in our mentality, it's our psyche. So I think it's strange. I don't think we never
Mm-hmm.
had no like. You look at Atlanta, they had Maynard Jackson. You look
Mm-hmm.
at DC, we gave them Marion Barry. Marion Barry's from Memphis. He went to Booker T. Washington High School and
Okay.
Lamorne on. First
Okay.
chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, one of the greatest mayors of all time. He really created a black business class, a black middle class in DC with the things he
Mm-hmm.
done for the people when he was mayor as well as councilman. So we never had that type of. We had Boss Crump, and you see how that's been. And Harrington,
I
he's a
heard.
child of Boss Crump, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, we had hope with Harrington with the People's Convention, but we never had true leadership that understood, that overstood how to empower the people. When we did get it, they were ran off or killed for whatever reason.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Think about the people's grocery lynchings. Abbey Wells' best friend, one of the Memphis was one of the largest grocery markets in the country, in the top five around the 1890s. And these black men were making a lot of money and serving the community. And lynching majority of the lynchings were of black business people.
Yeah.
They tried to kill Robert Church during the race massacre. And from my
Mm-hmm.
understanding, Robert Church actually invested in the real estate that became Black Wall Street in Oklahoma. Robert Church Sr. Because
Oh, okay.
Ida B. Wells, when Thomas Moss was lynched by the white folks here in Uptown, as they call it, he
Mm-hmm.
told his last words were, "Tell my people to go west. They cannot get any justice here." And Ida B. Wells, she was the godmother to his daughter. She put
Mm-hmm.
that in print. Over 6,000 black folks left to go west in places like Oklahoma, like
Oh, wow.
Tulsa. Yeah, so
Okay.
Robert Church was an early investor in
Okay.
Black Wall Street Senior. So there's a lot of history we don't know about. But Memphis, think
Right.
about all the people that ran off. Like you look at right now, look at Mississippi. Think about all the black folks that had to leave Mississippi or were killed because of white state-sponsored terrorism. Mississippi could have had several black governors and U.S. senators right now since Reconstruction, but because of what they did with the state-sponsored terrorism through the Mississippi Sovereignty Commission and the White Citizen Council, you have the
Mm,
situation you have now in Mississippi. But
gotcha. I got you. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, a lot of good history. A lot of good history.
So I mean, like actually, like what has been like I mean, I've been to several of your events, like they're very well attended. But what's the support locally been like for your events and for your organization doing the things you're doing?
Um, I've gotten quite a bit of support for what I've been doing on location Memphis. I've gotten from the state. I've gotten support there from local government. I've gotten support. Of course, with me being a business owner, then I was able to support and kind of rally some of my colleagues, to support what we're trying to do, and then just being, fiscally responsible for what it is we're trying to do. So,
Mhm.
um, with us, with it being a volunteer organization, historically it did not have staff, so it was really grassroots. It was just, people who were willing to give, and, sponsorships you were able to raise. That's what, why you were able to do it. But basically being fiscally responsible, and making sure that whatever you're doing has an impact, and then building great relationships, so um, almost quite a few of the artists have come across my desk, come across my office at one point in time for various reasons. So you build relationships with people and you build win-win opportunities, to help and move everybody's visions forward, what they're trying to do. So those great relationships have been a benefit to me as well. So I've always gotten pretty good support for what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go, especially since now that I'm focused, I'm kind of focusing the organization on an area that I feel is there's a need. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I think a lot of times people may find they're not getting the support because the where they're trying to go, that area is too saturated. So if it's oversaturated and people have already committed to giving to however many organizations they've given to, it's only so much money that can be spread around. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So at some point in time, somebody is going to end up getting left out, because if this area is already taken care of and the community is taking care of them, then you trying to come in and do the exact same thing, it's going to be hard for you to get that support. And so that's what I was trying to look for. Where is the community lacking? We did the film festival for 17, the organization did it for 17 years. I came in 2010
Mm-hmm.
and was there for about, several more. But but then you have 4 or 5 other film festivals, two that were there when this organization started. It was just two, but you can name a good 3 or 4 more that popped up just over the years. And so once everything is saturated and you see that the community is not able to support all of them to to that same level, at some point you have to reevaluate what you're doing and reevaluate the needs of the community, because if you're a nonprofit, you're supposed to be serving the community, right?
You're supposed to. Yeah.
So it's not what I want the community to have, it's what the community needs, assessing what the community needs. And so that's what I looked at. I said, okay, what does the music and film community need? And when I looked at everything, I was like, okay, they need a next level outlet for the content that they're creating. They're already creating it. Now they need to monetize it. I took a class and they just kind of mentioned, it was a class for nonprofits, just figuring out how to operate in that space. And
Mm-hmm.
things they said back then, this was a couple of years ago, and I do pray that it's not as this bad. But back then they said Memphis had a 30 to 40% poverty rate. And that really struck me when they said that in the class, and they were saying it in the fact that you got this poverty rate, but then you have so many nonprofits with millions of dollars running through these organization hands,
Mm-hmm.
still have a poverty rate of 30 to 40%. Now we know St. Jude is probably skewing those numbers high, you know what I'm saying, as far as the dollars that are going through nonprofits, because they're a nonprofit and they're in there too. But still, there are other nonprofits that have money, but yeah, you still have that. And so when I started thinking about that, I said, okay, I know the artists who are coming across my desk, they don't have the money to pay legal fees and to pay filing fees and to travel to New York, California, Atlanta, and these places to make the right connections, to
Mm-hmm.
get in the right faces with the individuals that can take their content where it needs to go. They just don't have the income to do it. And I was like, I know that many of them are probably operating within that poverty rate, working
Yep.
poor or whatever, but yet still they're able to make the content. They find a way and are given the means to create the content. So I'm like, okay, so if they got the content, then they need support in getting the content out, monetizing the content, learning how to run their businesses, and opening some doors for them and their content. And so that's where I identified was the need in the community.
Mm-hmm.
This is, the bank is just one facet, because music is just one of the arts, so that's just one facet. But really across the board, I do believe, from film, from artists, painters and such, there's a segment, there's a group that needs some assistance in taking that leap, to the next level, and actually generating income from the content that they're creating. So that's what I'm kind of focused on. So finding the need in the community, and then servicing that need, and that's what we're hoping to do with On Location Memphis. First with the Memphis Music Bank, and now um, working to build something for the independent film community.
It's interesting. I'm thinking in my mind, you saying all this stuff. I always like to listen to people because have all these things be flowing, especially somebody that got some sense, that got some intelligence and know their
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I was thinking about, you ever heard this site called website called Charity Navigator by any chance?
No, I've never heard of that.
See, this is the thing. It was this Jewish guy interviewed several years ago when I first started out, and he was talking about how these nonprofits really run. They're not really. See, everything is weird in this system. It's upside down. When they mean nonprofit, they really mean for profit. So he was exposed to be the sudden poverty. Think about this. He exposed. This is another Jewish guy.
Mm-hmm.
Exposes the sudden poverty law center. He said, "Go on Charity Navigator, brother Ron, and you get all the information on all these so-called nonprofits." And I went on there. The Southern Poverty Law Center. This is back maybe 2008, 2009. They had an endowment of like almost $300 million. Morris Dees, who headed it, was making six figures from that alone. That was his base salary. This is
Mm-hmm.
not including his books or lecture fees or whatever consulting fees. He's
Mm-hmm.
making six figures from that alone. And his friend who was under him was making six figures from that. So they
Mm-hmm.
had an endowment almost $300 million. And I remember talking to this prominent filmmaker. Like he asked him to go in one of his projects, and he was a known name at the time. And Morris Dees didn't want to follow up. But once he made a name for himself with that project, Morris Dees invited him to his home down in Montgomery, Alabama, and he lived in a gated community in a Mediterranean style mansion.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the founder of the Southern Poverty Law Center. They begging me for money in the mail. I don't have nothing for post stamps to mail them the money in the mail. But I mean, it's an illusion. Like it's deception because why I want to fix your car correctly? If I gotta make a car that could last 50 years, why would I make a car that could actually last 50 years or could run on water? That put a lot of folks out of business. So really, this is in Memphis is engineered. This is socially engineered poverty. Like there's a lot of millionaires. This is the founder of Fred Smith lives in Memphis. Come on, he's a billionaire. FedEx, a corporate headquarters, AutoZone, corporate
Mm-hmm.
headquarters, international
Mm-hmm.
paper. But I'm saying it's engineered poverty. We like we're just a big we're a bunch of lab rats and guinea pigs in America. We're a big lab experiment. That's why they call the projects the projects. Another thing, Robert Church Sr., they was all about investing in black businesses and home ownership. They will give you loans. He started a black-owned bank called the Sovereign Saving Bank, where
Mm-hmm.
he was giving folks loans to start businesses and own homes. And the
Mm-hmm.
Crump machine destroyed the legacy of the churches. They basically tore down their three-story mansion on East Parkway, I believe, for a
Mm-hmm.
fire convention back in the early 50s or in South Memphis. And they replaced those black-owned palatial homes with the projects. So we
Oh.
went from ownership, from business. I tell you, like most of the people that were lynched were black business people. We were from
Mm-hmm.
that to dependency on the government on their project plantations. So this
Mm-hmm.
is all the grand theme of everything. Like even Dr. King, his last speech, he was focusing more on black businesses, ownership, and stuff like that. The Montgomery bus boycott probably our most successful victory during the whole civil rights movement. That's when you had the black people working together, black women and children working together, vets from Korea and from World War II. You had black business on, you had the jitneys, you had the black radio, everybody
Mm-hmm.
working in hand for 381 straight days to crush the bus apartheid thing. And I know
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading a story where you had A.G. Gaston, who was a millionaire in Alabama. He was a supporter of the movement. And you had S.B. Fuller, who was the wealthiest black man in America at that time. He sold hair products, I believe. They were approached by the white folks to sell the bus company. And they went to Dr. King about it. Dr. King said no. And Dr. King was no businessman,
Mm-hmm.
moral leader, figurehead, but not a businessman. And see, he realized 13 years later that, hey, we got to start owning our stuff. And that's when they killed him. He started talking about redistribution of the wealth and ownership. That's when they killed him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hear what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but these nonprofits, they run the game. It's like they're not trying to solve the problem. They're trying to make money. It's not about solving the problem. It's about perpetuating the problem to make money.
Yeah, I've heard that. I definitely have heard that. And you don't have to hear, you can see it.
We'll go to Charity Navigator.
If no
Which of
one
my
ever,
sellers you need to
if
make $1
no
million
one
blow
ever
his trumpet?
graduates, if no one ever
Uh-huh.
graduates from the need, from needing the service, then obviously you're not trying to meet the need. You know what I'm saying? You're not really
Yeah.
trying to meet the need. And I recognize that. And I mean, I'm not exactly sure who all can do that, but our goal is essentially we want our businesses who, our publishers who are a part of the On Location Memphis, we want them to get to the point where, they'll be able to function outside of us. They'll build their publishing companies, start generating the income that we're able to open that door where they get music into the system, because the system is there. And if
Mm-hmm.
in the system and it gets going, all you're doing is going to the mailbox, picking up the checks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't even really fathom how the money is going to generate, because the system is so vast and so intricate. And once you get to a certain level, the money just keeps coming, and you don't even know where and how it comes. I remember I did a talk on my YouTube channel about when the whole cancel Michael Jackson, cancel R. Kelly situation,
Read my mind.
and and putting aside what you think about what they did, yes or no, or guilty or not guilty. When you look at the music and the level in which of success that those two men had in the industry, and the breadth, the decades of hits that they had, it was nowhere in the world you could cancel them, even if you wanted to, because it was so intricate. And it was so long, and it was so ingrained, and so many projects, and you have so many people other people outside of them who's making money off of that publishing and off those music and all this other stuff. And I took them to their IMDb page, and I said, listen, look at this page. I said, these people, look at R. Kelly's page. I mean, I said, he has credits even to this day from television shows in other countries. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Over in other countries, and they're bringing it back here. And I said, and we looked at Michael Jackson's
Mm.
his IMDb page. He had a credit. He had a credit for the documentary that was accusing him of sexual abuse. So I'm like, he got a credit on that. So I'm like, it's so vast, and it's a system that you really can't do anything about, and no one, the money it would take to try to do it, you can't do it. So our independent artists, we know that the system is there. It's a matter of getting into the system, and if you get into a system, if they get a hit song, a one hit song could set an artist up, a publisher, for life. And and if it's generating money, that money that can be generating money for them and their heirs, for up to 75 years after their death. And
Mm.
so you have to always think about anything that you create. If you're going to be in that space, you think in terms of ownership, you think in terms of legacy, because even if you don't make what you think you should off of that music, your ancestors could. I mean, I talked about another situation on my YouTube channel. This was dealing with the Big Bang Theory. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
with that TV show, but
Yeah.
there was Sheldon. The Sheldon character, he had this. It was this little poem that he loved. That he would often quote, "Hello Kitty," or something like that. It was a quote that he would often do in the show. Well, that was taken from a book, a children's book. Okay, the author of it, she wrote that back in 1932 or 1930 something or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He had given this book authorization, this publisher authorization to include her song. It was a song of children. It was a book of children's songs. She had agreed to give it to him. Well, essentially, the television show, which the Big Bang Theory was like it's the number one show, was the number one show. So it's generating millions and
I know.
millions of dollars. They licensed it from the book, the song. Well, the book publisher really didn't own the copyrights. The copyrights was with the woman who wrote the song back in 1932. And
Mm-hmm.
so, of course, her children, they filed a lawsuit, for copyright infringement. And theoretically, if everything had been done and registered properly, they would, even up to this day, have a valid copyright and a claim. However, it was not done.
Mm.
So her heirs, this woman who wrote this song back in 1930 something, for whatever reason, did not have the copyrights done properly over the years. Probably wasn't even thinking in terms of that. Who knew that in 2000 some odd, her children could have been, they could have gotten millions of dollars off of that song. This is well after her passing. And so you have to think in those terms when you're creating content. You have to think in terms of legacy and heirs and who could possibly take. I've created this, and maybe I have not been able to generate the type of income from it that I thought, I could have or would have, but my children could possibly do it. Someone could discover it, and decide, I want to cover it. I want to re-record it. I want to refashion it. And now I'm going to do, what I'm going to do. People talk about Frankie Beverly and Mays when Beyonce did his song, and they talk about Beyonce didn't do it as well as he did. But I promise you, he doesn't mind because she's taking it and generating more money with it than he probably did. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he probably did quite well, but her taking it to another level, that's just creating a lot more money. You look at Dolly Parton; she did really well with "I Will Always Love You" as a country song. But when Whitney Houston redid it, it took it to a whole nother level. To even Dolly Parton say that's Whitney's song. I mean, she doesn't even claim it. I mean, she said she claimed the publishing, the money.
All right, she claimed that money. She didn't turn out no check. Yeah,
but she didn't give up to him and say, yes, that's Whitney's signature song. So you have to think in those terms, and that's what we would love to see. We would love to see a publisher who would come through our program, get the knowledge, get some doors open for them, that then they're able to step through and take off. And, no longer need to put any music in our bank, or whatever. Maybe they'll leave the one or two songs that initially they gave us, but they won't need that. They will have the education, the tools, and the resources and the connections now to really move their business to the next level. That's what we're looking to do and trying to do.
You know what? And that's great because you were saying that. I also was thinking about Taylor Swift and her rendition of September. And I'm sure the Earth, Wind, and Fire didn't complain about whatever if they got songwriting credits for that.
Oh no, not at all, at all.
But also, it's a thing though. You mentioned Michael Jackson. I'm glad you brought up Michael Jackson. I'm thinking about Michael Jackson. I mean, go back to Sam Cooke and Otis Redding, who owned his own publishing. He wrote the song "Respect." People don't know that he sung and wrote that. So you think that's a Aretha song, but it's Otis Redding writing.
Exactly.
So I'm hoping that his family still got control of his publishing. But I look at Michael Jackson, Sam Cooke, Prince, all these guys try to do what you're trying to get folks to do now, and look at the cost they paid with their lives, allegedly. It's still some mystery about how they died.
I don't know if that's a correlation specifically because of the fact that they did their publishing, but they're definitely good role models because I mean, that's what you want to do is you want to have control over your music, control over your masters and your publishing. You want to do business and do good business and go from there. So just definitely take from the good from what they did from their lives, take from that and move forward and make good decisions for your own career.
I know they were trying to build wealth though. They were trying to do generational wealth and they will cut short. What I'm saying is, I think we as Black people don't understand that everything in this system, when it relates to human activity, is warfare. I think you gotta be willing to fight and do some other things to keep what you want. I mean, I just don't see. I look at Kanye West trying to build a dynasty. I respect that actually. I don't. People think he's crazy. He's no more crazy than anybody else. But the thing about it, he's thinking and doing big things. And he understands that you try to get into the fashion arena. Those families been dominating for like generations and centuries even. In that arena, it's a good old boys club. So I think that a lot of us are not aware. We don't appreciate the folks that came before and the sacrifices they had to make. Because you trying to teach people about the business. You had cats who trying to do that, and look what happened to them. They got cut off. Not saying it should be a deterrent, but I'm saying you got to understand the beast that you're dealing with. Because even you look at Black Wall Street, well, the old timers told me was that the planes that were used to bomb Black Wall Street in Oklahoma were actually owned by black people. There were black folks owned planes that the white folks took to bomb their own people.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there's some things like the understanding, like they'll
Mhm.
take. I like what okay, the example of Nearest Green family when they
Mhm.
doing with Nearest Green. You had folks, Nearest Green told Jack Daniels how to make that whiskey,
Mhm.
made billions and billions of dollars off of, and you had his folks up to until recently were working as employees. They weren't
Mhm.
shareholders; they were
Mhm.
actual employees, clock in, clock out employees for generations. That's
Mhm.
insanity.
Mhm.
Your ancestors gave that man out there, and all y'all care about what. But now they got hip to it. Now they got their own
Mhm.
distillery outside of Nashville. But I'm
Mhm.
just saying that I don't think we understand what we got to do. Cause I said once again, I'm gonna repeat this. Most of the lynching victims were black business people, so you
Mhm.
gotta be willing to be gangster with it. Cause I look at Clyde Davis, that old guy is still going. All the folks that made money off of like Whitney Houston, Phyllis Hyman, they all dead. You know,
Mhm.
Quincy Jones and Barry Gordy, they was no pushovers. They still around. But a lot of folks
Right.
they work with, they dead.
Right. Right. Right.
So I'm
Right.
not trying to scare nobody. I'm just trying to figure out, I have a friend, he's dead, he's been dead for 5 years now,
Mhm.
Emerson Abel Jr.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
worked with Isaac Hayes, he worked with Sebby Davis, he told me all these stories about Al Green. I ain't gonna talk about it on here, but
Mhm.
he said, Run, nobody dies a natural death in show business. Nobody.
Wow.
Nobody, and I believe him because you look at how people die. You look at people, recent celebrities like Kobe and this girl
Mhm.
from Glee. What happened to the girl from Glee? But I'm getting off track now. But I'm just saying, I'm not trying to scare people, but I'm saying you gotta be willing to put your life on the line. Dr. King said it best. He said, if a man ain't willing to die for anything, he ain't fit to live. Be
Mhm.
willing to put your life on the line for what you want. That's all.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
don't they gonna be easy because they didn't make it easy for you to do this, right? You trying to help people. They're not making it easy for you to facilitate to try to bless people with generational wealth.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I'm an angry black man too. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
No, no,
I ain't know
no,
you the YouTube
no, I,
channel.
no, I mean, no, I hear exactly what you're saying. I mean, I hear exactly what you're saying. I'm just
Hmm.
one that you're gonna have to, you have to take that knowledge that you're giving. You don't discount it. You take it in, and then you allow yourself to be guided. I use, I'm a Christian by faith. That's my faith, and so I feel like, I'm going to be led and directed based on what I feel God is telling me to do and where He's telling me to go, and I don't really fear anything else, anything that a man can do or anything of that nature. I'm just going to do what it is that I feel like I'm led to do, how, and do it the way I feel like I'm being led to do it. So the information, that the history is very important because you don't want to repeat the history, and you want to definitely learn from the history. But then you take it and you move forward, because I believe people, at the time, they do what they think is best. You mentioned about Martin Luther King. At the time, he was pushing integration. It wasn't towards the end that he thought, oh, we should be pushing business ownership or whatever.
Right.
Well, I believe what he did, the integration or whatever, it was needed for that time. And having done that has put us in a place to do what we need to do. Now we're looking back 2020, hindsight being 2020,
Right.
you're thinking, oh, we should have been pushing integration. We should have been pushing just equality, just making it equal.
Hmm.
It can be separate, but just make it equal or whatever. We should have been pushing that. Well, like I said, hindsight is always 2020. But guess what? Because of what the foundation that they did leave for us, we're in a position now where we can take what we know we should be doing and now focusing. There's nothing that can hold us back from now focusing on the business and the group economics and all of the other things that people are educating people about. Maybe now is the time,
Hmm.
for that, for us to move forward with that. So I think what anybody does and how they do it, I respect it and I appreciate what they've done. And I would never, say, oh, they should have known better or whatever. No, they did what they were supposed to do based on what they knew and what they felt they needed to do at that time. And maybe at the end, when he felt like it was time to make the shift, it wasn't for him to make the shift. It's now time for the next generation to make the shift. And so that's what we're doing. And I see a lot of, there's a lot of people, a lot of blacks who have their own businesses, they think in terms of ownership. They think in terms of creating goods and services and patronizing each other, and that's a good thing. And so now we just kind of build off of that, and just be focused on that. So that's just me and where, basically the angle that I'm coming from.
So how have you focusing on, I guess, transitioning? How have you been able to navigate or get used to this new reality, this COVID-19 reality? I know it just put a lot of people's plans on hold, or just destroy a lot of people's dreams, shut down a lot of businesses, an economic hard reset. So how have you
Yeah.
adapted, you and your organization, to this reality?
So I mean, the good thing with location Memphis was we were already lean to begin with. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
we did very fiscally responsible, and we didn't have a whole lot of money to start with. We were blessed with a governor's grant last year to help
Mm-hmm.
the bank to move it forward. Um, but once everything kind of shifted with the pandemic, we had to kind of postpone some activities and then move some activities online. The good thing is, though, I felt like we were basically ahead of the game because when you talk about the music industry, there are two sides of it. One side got hit very strongly, which was your performance side
Yeah.
of the music industry. Oh, excuse me.
That's
But
all right.
the
You need some
streaming
water?
side,
Or?
yeah, I'm good. But the streaming
Okay.
side of the industry, they are booming. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody was home. So
Mm-hmm.
what is that? So what does the streaming side need? They need music for content.
Right.
They're going to stream. So I felt like we were basically uniquely positioned to to kind of maybe catch the next wave that's going to be coming up because um, the new normal is going to be the new normal,
Mm-hmm.
and I think more content is going to be needed to service all of these streaming platforms and all of that we have here through your apps and through the internet and as well as your regular television. So I kind of felt like we were in a good place. And we were able to take our message online. So a lot of the events that we were doing in person, we were able to duplicate them online. And like our Memphis Music Bank mixer competitions, we're right now planning to produce a couple of those competitions online virtually. And we were able to get some sponsorship from the Tennessee Entertainment Commission to do that. And so that turned out to be something good from us because that's what we were preaching, that artists need to think about other ways to generate income with that content other than CD sales and live performances.
Mm-hmm.
And this pandemic just brought it home a little bit more. Like, you need to think about other ways to generate income with your content other than live performances and CD sales. And music licensing is one of those revenue streams that they really need to think about. And really, just if they band together on it, they can really help all of the independent artists. Don't just give everything for free. Don't just somebody, the exposure, they always come, hey, you want to get exposure? I'm like,
Right.
hey,
Right.
listen, I don't need exposure. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I'll give you a reasonable price. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to remember, they need the music, for the content. And then they need to have content that's legally sound. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you're not, it's not just one helping the other, you're helping each other. So yeah, so the pandemic, it didn't it you know it did it forced us to reimagine what we're doing on that side, but it hasn't been catastrophic for us, as far as the organization and everything. And then we've been able to get the support, the economic disaster relief support to help us
Mm-hmm.
maintain our contract workers who work with us and help us put on the things that we're putting together. So it's been a good thing. It hasn't been a good thing, but it's been okay. We've held it down. I'll just put it like that. And we're gonna get as much out of it as we can. We're gonna turn those lemons into lemonade, so to speak.
I like that Beyonce way of thinking. I love it.
Right.
That's the Beyonceism
Exactly.
now. But
Right.
I was thinking about what you were saying. I was thinking about, man, this is supposed to be like a summer blockbuster. Movie industry is really struggling. Hollywood movie
Oh
theater
yeah.
chains, but
Oh yeah.
Netflix is thriving right now. Amazon
Netflix is
Prime is thriving
thriving.
right now.
Disney Plus is thriving.
And Disney Plus, right? So
They
it's
were
weird.
smart. Yeah, because
Yeah,
they
it's
just like
strange.
that last year. They were right on time. So yeah, all of them are, they're doing quite well, in the midst of it. Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and all of
Wow.
the major, streaming platforms are, they're just there, just like Zoom. There's just companies that were thinking about, the future
Hmm.
and to position themselves, and they're right on time for what the world needed.
I know Brooks Brothers. They just filed for bankruptcy recently. I guess for
Hmm.
protection. But I mean, they've
Hmm.
been around since 1818.
Yeah, they've been
Suited
around.
up, suited and booted 40 presidents, I suppose.
Right, right, right. Yeah,
And they filed for bankruptcy, and they've been around
right, right.
forever.
Yeah, but they're probably going to reorganize themselves.
Hmm.
I don't really foresee them going away, but yeah, they're going to have to
Wow.
and come at it from a new perspective, because not everybody will go into the store to try on the Brooks Brothers suit. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that was not like COVID going.
Not in the midst of
Allegedly,
COVID-19. So they have to just come up with a new way, and they will. They'll come
because
up.
they shut down 51 permanent. They shut down permanently 51 stores in the U.S., but they got several hundred around the world though.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be interesting. I mean, this is like
Yeah.
interesting time. So I don't want to. I guess I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. Can you shout us out your YouTube
Oh yeah.
channel?
Yeah, sure. It's Positioned for Millions is the
Oh,
YouTube.
I like that.
Yeah, Positioned for Millions is the name of it. And
Oh,
so
I'll make
we
sure that's there.
yeah, that's my music industry consulting company that I do on the side. So yeah, sometimes I was into I do a few videos every now and then, but not like Brother Ron. So I don't have the following that
Well, you about to really. You don't really know what the following
oh,
is, right? I know they be shadow banning me, so I don't really know how many people listen. But I just know it's weird. I go out in public, people recognize me. They really recognize me or my voice. I remember I went to the vitamin shop about like the weekend before all this COVID stuff started going down in March.
uh-huh.
And this dude was in front of me, kept on looking at me. I try, how you try to not acknowledge people that's looking at you, like they're just looking
Right,
at you. He was like
right.
staring hard at me. I'm like, man, do I know you? He said, no, bro. Did I sleep with your wife? He said, no, brother. Did I sleep with your girlfriend? No. Do I owe you money? No,
Right,
no, no. You look familiar. I said, okay, is it good familiar or bad familiar? So
right, right.
I gave him my card. I said, oh, you brother Ron. You were Judge Joe Brown. These what you got in your hand, bro? I got some colloidal silver, man. It's like last spray bottle left in the back, and it's based
Mm-hmm.
on my advice. He got out the line and got the colloidal silver because like the stuff I put out there, and
Mm-hmm.
it's funny how people can hold you in a place of trust. Like I take
Mm-hmm.
that more seriously now as we go along. Like people really
Right.
look to you as some trusted source, and it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to find sources or people you can trust. I mean, I can't
Mm-hmm.
take that for granted now. For granted, excuse me, for what's going on, and that's a huge responsibility I was not aware of that I was actually building. To be honest with
That's
you,
right.
uh, I didn't know I'd be put in a position, but I don't really know how many people actually follow me. But it's just like the fact I could go out there and folks
Yeah.
recognize you, and or they'll email you and say I use your curriculum or what you teach on your videos as my
Right.
homeschool curriculum. Like books
Mm-hmm.
you suggest we get them, and we use this teach in the classroom in a form of educational setting. So people been
Mm-hmm.
sending me stuff like that, so it keeps me going and motivated in times
Yeah.
like these.
Oh yeah. I mean, the history. I mean, the history is so fascinating. I mean, even and when you think about it, it just, when they retell the story, especially Black history, and
Hmm.
on during the Reconstructive era. I mean, it just kind of boggles your mind when you compare it to what's going on today. Because I remember
Right.
we screened this documentary on the Red Sox, the Negro League.
Yeah, Memphis Red Sox. Yes.
Yeah, the Memphis Red Sox, and we had a Negro League player. He wasn't a part of the Red Sox, but he played in the Negro Leagues. Who was on our panel and everything, and he talked about that. But when you learn that that team was owned by four brothers, black
Martin Brothers. Yeah.
brothers, but what was most unique is they own the team, but they also own the stadium.
There you go.
That was very, very unique in the fact that they own both, and were businessmen and everything. But then you think about today, and it's like there are no black owners, that I'm aware of a major baseball team and all this other stuff. So it's inspiring when you hear about history and you learn about especially Black history and what's going on with you. When you always tell us about Jimmy Lunsford, and his history and his and we screened the film that his music was in during the Lunsford Jamboree. Who would have thought, what I'm saying, that individual was coming out of Memphis and had risen to that level of success in the music industry and then crossing over into film. But we need to hear that and we need to learn that. And that gives us inspiration and it gives us a reason to kind of push forward and rebuild, to know that we were there and we need to rebuild that back up today.
That's excellent. So, how can we support you or contact you with people with interest in following up with your activities and your organization? What would be the best way to do that?
Well, as far as On Location Memphis, I would suggest go to our website, which is onlocationmemphis.org. You can contact us through that contact page. You can also go to our Memphis Music Bank website, which is Memphis Music Bank, and that's BANQ.com. So go to memphismusicbank.com or onlocationmemphis.org. You can just reach out to me through the contact page. It'll get to me or someone will circle it back to me. And then hopefully, we'll be able to either do business or we'll be able to support and help each other. We have a lot of things coming up. May want to get on our email list because, like I said, the virtual mixers are going to be coming up pretty soon. We're planning those now. The A.L.L film market is open. We're taking submissions at filmfreeway.com now. So if you go on the website, you can kind of see everything that we have going on and see where you want to get in. If you want to participate, get in where you fit in.
That sounds great. From that great philosopher Too Short, get in where you fit in.
Get in where you fit
From
in.
East Oakland.
Exactly.
So thank you so much. I got to have you back on. This should have been. This is really criminal that we didn't actually interview like years early, whatever. Sometimes this things give me a lot of time to reflect on, think on things, and I really enjoyed talking with you. I could listen to you for a while actually, but I don't want to take advantage of your time. Thank you so much. I said an hour, right? So thank you. We'll have you back on again. Definitely. Okay. I'm gonna have to do some more homework. I'm gonna check out your YouTube channel. I didn't know you had one. Okay. Well, I definitely have better questions.
No problem at all. I appreciate you having me on and giving me opportunity to share with your list, with your viewers about what we do at On Location Memphis, and I look forward to us getting together again. And hopefully you'll be at the next mixer, the virtual mixer. I know you was there for the making of.
Yeah, though. Actually, it was pretty cool though. A lot of eclectic people.
Right. So you have to experience the mixer. That's a totally different situation from the February event.
Oh wow. Okay. So when is that?
It's coming up in September, but yeah, get on our email list. I'll make sure you know. I'll make sure you know about it.
You can add me, yeah, definitely. But let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely. It's kind of weird. I'm feeling like anxious right now. I don't know what to expect. This year is so strange.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Right.
I want to make plans. I can't make plans. I'm kind of paralyzed. This for my therapist. I can't talk. I ain't gonna talk to you.
Okay.
But you get a virtual therapist. Jesus.
Right.
Thank you so much, Sister Angela. In the words of Great Skeleton, we love you madly. You keep on producing and pushing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
All right.